Hi again. So we have all the shots that we need now for the video, and we're going to put everything together. We're going to use motion to demonstrate how to do this, but it should be pretty easy to follow using another editor. We're going to create a new project. If you have options such as these, you're going to want to set the resolution and the frame rate to what you recorded in. In my case, I recorded in 1920 by 1080 pixels and 24 FPS. Once you create your project, you're going to see this scary looking interface. Ooh. Down here's the timeline, which lets you put together clips and add effects where you want it. This here is the preview window, which can show you how your video will look before rendering or finalizing it to use for YouTube. And finally, this is the library, which can usually either house effects or a list of the clips you've added to the project. Pretty much every video editor is going to have at least these three elements of the interface. For everything else, it's going to be up to you to learn the specific ins and outs of the software. Now let's start putting together our video. First, we're going to need to add our recordings to the project. For motion, I can just drag my videos into the project and it's going to automatically add it to the timeline. But for some other editors, you may need to import it manually, typically by going to File and then looking around for Import. After you add all of your recordings, now we can start arranging them in the timeline in the order that you want them to appear. This shot here is the beginning of our video, so we place it leftmost here. Using the playlist, we can also trim the video to make this clip exactly as long as we want it. There's usually a certain balance of length that you have with trimming that needs to be considered while editing. Make the clip longer than necessary and it might feel awkward. Make it too short and you might lose information or may feel too rushed, unless of course it's intentional. Just be sure to keep it no longer or shorter than necessary for the video to flow. Let's put it right about here. Now we put in our second shot. We trim it and we place it exactly beside of the end of the first clip. This is something that I sometimes see. It's fine if it overlaps a little bit, but do not leave a space in between the two clips. Otherwise, you're going to get a little moment of black during playback and does not transition well. Most editors will have a way to snap two ends of a clip together so that you won't have to painstakingly zoom in all the way. Now we just keep repeating this process of adding, trimming, and arranging in the timeline. Every now and then you can play the video to make sure that everything looks the way you want it, and eventually you will have your completed video, but we still need sound. It's going to be pretty hard to be entertained by a video that's completely silent, so you're going to want to add some sound to your video before rendering it. You may already have some sounds in your clips that you recorded within blockland, but in the event that you need to add other in-game sound effects outside of what you've already recorded, you can find them in this directory. If you want to add different sound effects other than blocklands, you can go to various websites that offer a variety of stuff that you can use, as long as they are royalty free. This means that they are copyrighted, or they tend to be copyrighted, but you are legally allowed to use them if you either make a one-time payment for the license to use it or by downloading it for free if offered. This also applies to music and soundtracks that you want to use as well. Please try to respect the conditions of the licenses that each individual sound or soundtrack that you use contains, like leaving credits for the song or not making derivative works like remixes or reproductions. They're all going to be different. Maybe you want some audible dialogue between your characters. It's possible to get by using text-to-speech services from sites like these. Simply type your dialogue and your personal robot will speak for you.
You are all silly people. I am fantastic.
Alternatively, if you feel like your voice acting skills are up to par, you can use a program like Audacity to record the input of your microphone and export it in a file that your editor can use. Most editors are going to have a way to add audio, so just drag it in once you have your audio or import it the same way as you do with video. You should be able to trim it the same way as you do with video. I'm going to touch a tiny bit on transitions here, the most basic one being fading in and out. It's a very valuable tool that you're guaranteed to use for almost every video. It can work, as the name suggests, to smoothly fade in and out ends of a video clip, but for this purpose, I'm going to fade in and out a sound. In this part, I'm putting in some car engine noises for this Jeep, and as it gets farther away, I want it to sound a little bit more distant. For motion, I'm going to add an audio fade in and out behavior, split the audio right where I want it to be silent, then mess around with the slider until I'm satisfied with how long or short it fades away, and I'm going to repeat this as many times as I need to. Once you are satisfied with how your video looks, it's time to render it. Find the export button on your editor and give it a click. Make sure that it exports in the original resolution and frame rate. Again, 1920 by 1080 pixels and 24 FPS for mine. For the video encoder, use H.264 as it is the recommended codec by YouTube according to their help pages. As for the file type, YouTube currently accepts these formats here. You can pick any one that are supported by YouTube. I'm gonna pick MOV because that's the only format that Motion exports. Then we gotta put the render quality at its highest setting. Don't worry about these other settings for now, just the quality we need to worry about. You might not even have these settings on your editor. Hit go, wait a little while, then ta-da! Now all you gotta do is upload it to YouTube, add your title and description, and now you're set. Now you know how to make a basic blockland video.
Yeah.
Did it.
Oh, but we're not at the end of the road though. There are plenty of techniques and effects out there that we can apply to our videos and make them look a little bit nicer. Next tutorial, we're gonna talk about probably the most requested effects that I've done. Faces. Okay, bye.